Hey everyone, this is James, and this is March 9th, about 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is my 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. This is BTC USDT on the Binance Exchange, and like I said, this is my 4-hour chart. So where I want to start off real quick is just, this is not investment advice. We came from a downtrend in the overall picture. We've broken that downtrend, and now it looks like we are having a severe pullback. Which I've been saying that we were going to get, especially after we started breaking some of the uptrend lines. If you've been following along, you already know this. So basically, where we're at, even a pullback here, okay, the severity is pretty big when you're looking at it, on the smaller picture. But when you start to zoom out on the 4-hour chart, you can see there's about a retracement to, I think it was about the 618 on the fib. But anyways, you can see that the retracement doesn't quite look that severe. It's a little deeper than a 50% retracement from the 6,000 to bottom up to 12. But anyways, what I want to talk about is just real quick, besides the overall downtrend, is just how muted the market is. When you look to the right, you can see all the price action, the volatility, the market's hot, there's a lot of people in there. And then you look at this market and it's really muted. So with severe corrections. So to me, it's kind of like an indication that there's a lot of, I think the market cap's already cut in half now in the Bitcoin market. Or I think maybe that's just for the crypto market. But anyways, there's obviously a settling of price. The volatility isn't quite there. Yes, we do have some major spikes, some major bars where we see like 500 to 1,000 bars. But back then, you're seeing $2,000, $3,000 bars and much more. And you were seeing crazy, wild swings, 20, 30% in a day. Just crazy stuff. I mean, the craziest stuff I've seen in my entire life. But anyways, so the whole point is that we've made this pullback, all right? So right now we're sitting on a support where there may be a big buyer trying to prop a market up. Okay, I've been calling for a guppy run the past couple of days. Prices continue to slide just a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper. I do think this is the possibility that we are going to get the little guppy run. Like I said, this is not investment advice. The guppy run, how far it goes is yet to be determined. And then also, when the guppy run turns around and the whales decide to dump into those guppies and destroy them, it could produce another leg down, which could be very severe for people. So you kind of have something like this. Like when you start to see price fall, right? Here's a little guppy run, and then boom, and then it makes another leg lower. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm either looking for another leg lower or another leg higher. Okay, so if we get a run, we get a pullback, and then all of a sudden there's another leg higher, and there's more price structure showing that the trend is changing, that's a positive sign. If we get the little guppy run and they get destroyed and price starts to break this low, this area, then obviously whoever stepped in this area, whether it's a single person or multiple hands, then the price is going to go lower. Now we've also bounced off a key point too. This is the old downtrend line right here. All right, so this is something else that we're not seeing. This right here is the key, the prior downtrend. A bounce from here, was likely, and I did say that, especially in my Slack channel, to where I was talking about that we could get a bounce right here and price could go upward. Sorry, that's my alarm right there. But from there, we could get our little guppy run, and that's what it looks like it's going to happen. Now, this may produce an overall change in direction. However, it's way too early to even speculate that, because there's more risk to the downside than I believe there is to the upside. But like I said, it's not investment advice. So that's what I see right here now. And I do think the price would definitely run out of steam somewhere in about the 10,000 range, maybe 10.2 range. So we're talking about maybe 1,000, 1,200 points, that if the market does turn around relatively quickly. Now these are 4-hour bars, but if the market does turn around, you could see, another 5,000, $500 to $1,000 bar. It could be very brutal. And if we do get a pullback, it will erase whatever gains are incurred here very, very quickly. So that's what I'm looking for. So you can see what happened here. We had this nice run up, and then look at that, in 2 bars in like 8 hours, most of the gains were already erased. So it doesn't seem like a long time, but what happens is when you're in the smaller time frame charts, most people aren't paying attention. They're like, oh, just let it pull back, just let it pull back, just let it pull back, and before you know it, you're completely wiped out. Now, and then you're like, oh, well, then I'll just turn into a long-term holder, and you can, but if this gets blown out, right, and you're in this trade, this price could start to dip down into the 7s and possibly into the 6s if we keep this this up. So I know those are some big, those are some big downside numbers for everybody, and I know in the past I've talked about that as well too. But what I can say is that if we break where we are now, it is not going to be a positive sign, and there will be significant more downside. And I do not necessarily think we'll break the 6,000 low, but we may get very close to that area. And the closer we get to that area, the worse it is. It's not going to be a positive situation at all reaching that level. Okay, at least in my eyes. Based on my analysis, this is way too severe of a correction to already be heading down, testing that low. This is way too severe. Had we done this in months and time and done a nice, little curve or something like that, that's a whole different story. But when we're talking about a severe correction that only a few days now, right, we've already erased more than 50% of this run, and we start heading down even further, in no way, shape, or form is that a positive indication. All right, especially if we start having more downside and re-entering into the old downtrend. That's a huge red flag, right? That's why I still have it out here. And we got a little bounce right here, but if we get another rollover and we start to break into this downtrend, there is nothing positive about that. All right. So I know there's a lot of crazy people out there screaming, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. I'm holding for $1 million, But let me tell you, I got a screen door submarine if you're in that camp to sell you, because there's no guarantee that this market is going to turn around, especially if we start dive bombing into the 6,000 range. Now, I'm not trying to create fear here, right? It's not the nail in the coffin for Bitcoin, right? There's obviously steps that have to occur before that, but there is nothing positive about a 2-day demolition in the market. Now, we've had a multi-day run too, where we went from the 13th to the 19th, about 6 days there for that run, but we started on the 6th, and now here it is on the 9th, and we're already, retraced more than 50% of this whole move. That's a pretty significant move downward with a lot of velocity, and the sellers are clearly dominating this market. So like I said, we're gonna get the little Guppy rally, the little Guppy relief rally, and if that gets hit, it's going to get hit very hard. It's going to sucker in a lot of early bulls that are trying to buy this bottom, and it could be disastrous for them. Now, what would make it positive, all right, because I'm not trying to stay on the negative side. I'm trying to remain as objective as I possibly can here. But if we start to break through about the 9,300 level, then we should make it into about the low 10,000 range. From the low 10,000 range, if we do bust this downtrend, right, we should have a very close touch, maybe somewhere in this area, and then a rocket launch off of that way. So that would be the positive side for Bitcoin, is if we could break through the 10,000 area, and then use that as a springboard to get a little higher in price action. And then at that time, we would take out these highs of this 11,786 range, and etc. So, and at that time, if you are a long-term holder, that would be a positive sign. But it's a tough market. It's a really, really tough market, especially when you look at the bigger picture of everything and you see where we've come from and you see where we are now. If this market starts to take more of a beating, it's going to beat out a lot of investors very, very quickly. A lot of those investors that are holding out for those $1 million numbers that think they're going to, drive around in Lamborghinis with their $1,000 investment. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but the sentiment out there is literally that ridiculous. in most cases where people, are saying that, they're investing $1,000 and they're going to become multimillionaires, like people did very, very, very early on in Bitcoin. Those days are long and gone. Those are long and gone. If anyone knows anything about a bubble, if you do not know anything about a bubble, you have to research it if you're in that camp. And obviously, you'll probably get a dislike on this video for even saying this stuff. But, if you're in that camp and you're holding out for $1 million, I'm telling you, there's a high probability it's not going to happen, especially when the market starts getting destroyed this rapidly, this quickly. So it doesn't mean in the long run, maybe 10 years from now, we start to edge back into this 20, what is it, maybe 25,000 plus, like 25,000, 50,000. But this market is these days of seeing these crazy wild swings, to where you're going to see price launch from this area to 25,000, 50,000 in just a couple days or months, like this was, this insanity, and literally weeks where we made this run. That's long and gone. Right? This is the backside of a bubble. The thing that's coming to this market is normalization if the market survives. The market survives as long as we do not put in a lower low. All right? If we get the normalization, like I've been saying, okay, I'm not trying to put the nail in the coffin. I'm just trying to talk reality to people that, when you're on the backside of a bubble, those crazy wild days where everybody's going to retire on $1,000 investment are gone. They are gone. Completely gone. And what's going to happen is we will have a normalization of the market. And if it is at a normalization, like something like this, like when you see the NASDAQ and the dot-com bubble. Now understand, the NASDAQ bubble was over years. This is over just a couple months we've gone through this insanity in this market, okay? This is a very early market. This is like if Mike Tyson fought an amateur boxer and beat the amateur boxer, beat the living daylights out of the amateur boxer. That's what happened in the NASDAQ. In Bitcoin, it's like Mike Tyson boxing an infant. Okay? It would absolutely be brutal to the market if we start to take out this $6,000 range. We're talking it could be, years, possibly a decade before this market even recovers from that type of brutality if the market survives, okay? So I'm not trying to put the nail in the coffin. I'm just trying to talk the overall bigger picture of what we see here. If we decide to put higher legs and this is the higher low, this is a positive sign because now we have a nice upward slope showing the direction of price, and we will start to work our way into the 20,000, 30,000, and maybe even higher, but it would be at a much later time. We could be talking about the end of the year before we even get close to the 20,000 range if this is the new leg up. So just keep that in mind. Everyone needs to change their perspective. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme anymore, all right? The get-rich-quick was way back here, and if you miss the boat's gone. You can become a long-term holder, okay? And over maybe years, maybe decades, you'll earn some money, all right? And if the big boys are entering into this market, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for years to decades of return. They're not looking for instant multi-day transactions of wiggling 20, 30%, okay? I've never, ever heard anybody in my entire life or learned from anybody that's managed from even the smallest millions to hundreds of billions that has ever been like, oh, let's just jump in on a wild, crazy swing right here and risk, losing millions or billions of dollars on these wild, crazy, moves. There's just no way. They want to see stability. Okay, it's about growth. It's not about get rich quick. Most of those people are already rich, so they're not trying to go crazy here, but they're managing money. And when you manage money, okay, and you realize it's hard-earned money of not only your hard-earned money, but it's hard-earned money of other people's hard-earned money. You don't make these crazy decisions like, oh, let's just buy this crazy bottom right here and then just hope that price goes to $1 million and then we all become mega rich. Like that's insanity. That's insanity. And I'm not trying to make fun of you if that's your mindset. I'm just trying to talk the reality and the nature of this beast, okay? The hype is the extreme volatile swings are out of the market. You can clearly see that when you cut this market in half, okay? So anyways, I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. I hope nobody takes it that way. I'm just trying to talk reality in the market because I know there's a lot of hype around this market because it's what sells and it's what attracts followers, subscribers, and so forth. And I don't care for the ego. I don't care for the stroke of the ego. I'm going to trade no matter what happens, whether I have 1 follower or 10,000 followers. It does not matter. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And I don't need anybody to stroke my ego for that. So I'm not trying to lie to people or deceive people that price is going to skyrocket and everyone's going to drive Lamborghinis and have beach homes and a screen door submarine they can, drive around on the weekends with their family. So anyways, that's it. I didn't mean to go off on a wild and crazy tangent, but I feel like somebody kind of needs to talk the reality into the market, and we need to look at the overall picture. And you can clearly see the volatility. The red hot market is now starting to lose some of its luster, and it's not a bad thing. It just means there's a smoothing of the market. We could enter in the normalization phase. This may be the bottom. We'll have to wait and see what happens. If we break this, then obviously we are going to head lower, and it will be devastating to the market. If we break out of the 10,300, 10,400 on the Binance exchange, we will head higher. So anyways, we're 15 minutes in. I'm very sorry for going off on that wild tangent. Hopefully everybody's still there. I'm just trying to save people from making irrational decisions based on a get rich quick motto that was formulated back here on the front side of the bubble. Now we're on the back side of the bubble. And if you research what happens in the back side of the bubble, there's a lot of normalization and the market smooths out a lot. And people do not get rich quick on the back side of the bubble unless you're hanging on for a decade or sometimes even longer, right? So that's it today. I hope everybody has a great day. Sorry for the crazy rant. If you do like the video, give me a like. If you have any comments or questions, just ask. Also, subscribe for future updates. I do multi-day videos for Bitcoin, and then sometimes I'll cover Litecoin and Ethereum, which those look like garbage right now. Those are going to be dictated by the move in Bitcoin, okay? So if Bitcoin has a rally here, Litecoin and Ethereum will also get that rally too. So everybody have a good day, and I'll talk to everybody later.